Imagine a world where the same president who shook the foundation of American politics in 2016 is back again for a second term. The question isn't just how he'll govern, it's what will he do to the very fabric of American society, democracy, and its standing on the global stage. Today, we look ahead to what a second Donald Trump presidency could bring. This isn't just a political examination, it's about understanding the future we're walking into. But before we dive into the deep dive, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I need your support to keep bringing you detailed insights like this one. Don't miss out. Subscribe now. The road to a second term, Trump's 2016 victory and first term dive into his stunning 2016 victory and how it reshaped political norms. Discuss the polarization of American politics and how his campaign leveraged social media, populist messaging, and outsider status. Discuss his first term, tax cuts, deregulation, and his unconventional style that changed the face of the presidency. Path to 2024. Discuss the key moments leading up to 2024, including the January 6th Capitol riots, the subsequent impeachment proceedings, and Trump's continued influence over the Republican Party. Explore his enduring popularity among a significant portion of the electorate despite controversies and how his political brand remains strong. Domestic policies and economy in a second term. Trump's economic vision, what's next? Analyze the state of the U.S. economy post-pandemic and what Trump might do in his second term to handle inflation, unemployment, and public debt. Discuss his policies from his first term, tax cuts for corporations, deregulation, job creation, and trade wars. What might he continue, and what will he change in response to the economic challenges of 2024? Explore the future of his economic agenda, infrastructure, job creation, and tax policies. How would he deal with economic recession or growth? Healthcare and social programs. Analyze Trump's efforts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, ACA, and whether healthcare will remain a central issue in his second term. Dive into his stance on Social Security, Medicaid, and welfare reform. Would he continue cuts to social safety nets or focus on reducing government spending? Explore the debate over Medicare for all, universal health care, and how Trump might respond to calls for systemic reform. Environmental policy and climate change. Discuss Trump's environmental policies in his first term, from withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Agreement to loosening environmental protections. What would a second term mean for climate policy in the U.S. and globally? Would Trump reinstate or further roll back climate regulations? Look at the impact of Trump's policies on renewable energy, fossil fuels, and U.S. leadership in climate diplomacy. Immigration and national security. Immigration, the border wall and beyond. Dive into Trump's first-term immigration policies, the border wall, family separation, travel bans, and his stance on DACA, deferred action for childhood arrivals. What will his approach to immigration look like in a second term? Would he push for stricter border controls, mass deportations, or reforming the immigration system? Analyze the ongoing debate over sanctuary cities and the role of immigration in the 2024 election. National security and defense. Explore Trump's handling of national security threats, his stance on terrorism, military spending, and defense policy. Analyze his controversial foreign policy decisions, such as withdrawing troops from Syria and his tough stance on NATO. How might a second Trump term deal with threats from China, Russia, and Iran? Will he focus on strengthening the U.S. military, or will he pursue further America First isolationist policies? Foreign policy and global relations. Trade policy, the trade war with China and beyond. A deep dive into Trump's trade war with China and its lasting impacts on global markets. Would he continue with tariffs, or would he push for new trade deals in the second term? Explore his negotiations with other countries, including the renegotiation of NAFTA, now USMCA, his withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, and his stance on global trade. Would Trump seek to reduce the U.S. trade deficit, or would he focus on other issues like manufacturing, jobs, and intellectual property? Middle East and Foreign Relations Review. Trump's decisions regarding the Middle East, including moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, the Abraham Accords, and the withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal. Discuss his relationship with Saudi Arabia, North Korea, and other global players. What would a second term mean for U.S.-Israel relations, peace agreements in the Middle East, and America's role in the region? Europe, NATO, and global alliances. Analyze Trump's often strained relationship with NATO and European allies. How would a second term impact these relations? Would Trump continue his confrontational stance on NATO spending, or would he pursue new alliances with global powers like Russia, China, or India? How might Trump's foreign policy affect the U.S. in the context of global governance and world order? Legal and judicial landscape. The role of the judiciary, Supreme Court, and lower courts. 45 minutes. Review the influence of Trump's judicial appointments, particularly the 3 Supreme Court justices he nominated. How has this reshaped American law, especially in areas like abortion, gun rights, and religious freedoms? What could Trump's second term mean for the balance of the judiciary? Would he continue to appoint conservative judges, or would he look to alter judicial philosophy further? Legal challenges and impeachment aftermath. Analyze the ongoing legal challenges facing Trump. What will happen with his business dealings, investigations into his role in the January 6th riots, and other cases? Would Trump's second term be marked by further scrutiny, or would he push back against legal investigations and probes into his actions? Social issues and domestic polarization. Social justice, race relations, and civil rights. Examine how Trump's presidency influenced movements like Black Lives Matter, racial equality protests, and police reform. What would a second term look like in terms of addressing issues of racial inequality, social justice, and civil rights? Would Trump take a different approach to these issues or continue his tough-on-crime rhetoric? The political divide and Trump's role in polarization. Discuss how Trump's first term deepened political polarization in the U.S. Would his second term exacerbate this divide, or could he attempt to unify the country? What role would Trump's rhetoric and actions play in the growing political tensions between Republicans, Democrats, and independents? Explore the social impact of Trump's policies on everyday Americans and the broader political culture. The future of American democracy. Trump and democracy, challenges ahead. Explore the existential question: how would a second Trump term affect the integrity of American democracy? Would his administration challenge democratic norms, transparency, and accountability? What would his second term mean for voting rights, election security, and public trust in government? The impact on political institutions and the rule of law. Analyze how Trump's policies, legal challenges, and approach to governance could impact political institutions in the U.S. in the long term. Could a second Trump term lead to significant changes in the structure of government, or would it exacerbate the dysfunction and gridlock that many Americans feel? Final thoughts and reflections on a second Trump term. Summarize the key points discussed throughout the speech. Reflect on what a second term could mean for America and the world. Leave the audience with a thought-provoking question. Is America ready for another 4 years under Trump, or are we heading toward an uncertain future? Thank you for staying with me through this in-depth exploration of what a second Donald Trump presidency could look like. I hope this has given you a deeper understanding of the potential paths ahead for America. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, share this with your friends, and let's continue the conversation. And of course, let's hit that 1,000 subscriber milestone together. Your support helps us bring you more insightful